actually need to go live. Yeah, it hasn't automatically gone live. I'm clicking go live now.
Okay.
Welcome to Gutter Stars, the episode 3, the episode where we don't know what the errors are. We think we've sorted our technical errors. We'll see what we can do. Andrew, you are playing Major Remmington-Smythe III, who is a Giff mercenary, a hippo man, as you say, who headbutts things to death. What happened last time on the stream?
Well, last time on the stream or last time in the game? Let's go with last time in the game.
Last episode, what happened? Yes.
Right, well, when we started off, we were sort of beginning a courier contract to drop off some weaponry and armor and other assorted supplies for a mercenary company, like a bigger one than us that actually gets contracts worth money and has their own ship, and probably food.
Yeah.
And don't all share with
I mean, a Giff mercenary company, in fact. So, like, led by a guy who you probably respect, General Tomajack, but which you are not. You know, you're not actually involved in. You're not that good.
No. In any case, we went down to the armorers to sort of pick up said armor, and may or may not have broke or and entered into their warehouse or factory floor while doing it, because I decided not to bother checking where the entrance was and just walked in. But that's fine. We picked up the stuff and started transporting it to the docks where we were supposed to meet with said Giff mercenaries, and found a mysterious wall of fog that just descended over the street. Naturally, I did the only sane and sensible thing and walked blindly into it, assuming I would find the wizard responsible, and was very surprised when that actually happened. Wasn't expecting that to be the right choice, but it was.
What happened in your discussion with the wizard?
Well, we discussed things politely about why we didn't like the fact that we were being attacked by his mercenaries that were presumably trying to rob our caravan. And again, I gave him just a little sort of light love tap and his head exploded. Because he couldn't take a punch, I guess. But yes, we were attacked by, I think you said it was shoe mercenaries? Of some sort of shoe criminal gang?
Shoe mobsters to steal. Yeah, that's what you concluded.
Yeah, that wanted to steal our supplies, and we objected to them stealing our supplies and massacred them in the middle of the street, which caused some minor legal issues. One of us had to volunteer to go and get things cleared up with the local magistrate, but other than that, it turned out reasonably well. After that, we were supposed to go down to the Temple of Thoth, because...
Ptah.
Temple of Ptah, yes, sorry, not Thoth, different gods, both Egyptian. We went down to the Temple of Ptah, even, because Beej's character, whose name is, I'm quickly double-checking, Flynn Manley, yep, Flynn Manley had been contacted by someone who had a very high, it sounded like a high-profile job that they were being very cagey about. We had to agree to a geese, a magically enforced restriction on us speaking about said contract to anyone else before the person would even meet us to discuss it. And we don't actually know at this point in time who it actually was that's hiring us either. We kind of got the impression that they're someone with a pretty decent amount of wealth and power behind them, but they wanted to keep things very quiet. Yeah, this is the part I'm trying to remember. Was it her ward that was kidnapped?
Her ward had gone missing, in fact. Her ward had gone missing.
Well, missing presumed kidnapped, at least, I guess. Maybe with what I took away from it. It sounds like the guards that were escorting her were hit with some kind of sleep spell or something. They all just kind of drifted off to sleep all at the same time, and when they woke up, the person they were escorting was gone. And we've been hired to track down said missing person and hopefully return them to mysterious contract holder number 1.
Yeah.
I'm probably forgetting some
That's right.
things. So,
No, I think that was most of it. I think that was it. Anyone else want to add anything?
No, I think that was pretty much where we stand.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
ended with us
Well,
deciding what to do about
Let's
this.
do
award.
one. Yeah. Let's do a 1-sentence introduction for everyone else. We'll start from my left on Roll20. Jay, who are you playing tonight?
I'm playing Phsphl, a Lizardman bounty hunter, cold reptilian, and a little bit creepy.
Alex, who are you playing?
I'm playing Teamorin, kind of a battle wizard, kind of got a sword and also magic. Not so experienced with space.
No. Brian Beach, who are you playing?
It's Flynn Manley, who's a noble's son on the outs, looking for adventure and trying to be as suave as possible.
Great. And Tom, who are you playing?
I am playing as a Stype Sheafstack, who is a peasant cleric devoted to the god Demeter, who has an ass called Krups and a goat called Faust, who associate with him.
I'd forgotten about Faust.
Yeah.
Never forget about
who,
Faust.
after Stype was knocked out last time in this combat and had to more or less be dragged to his temple, the Temple of Planar Olympus, to be healed so that he could stagger around for the day. The question came up, would Faust carry him? And the answer from Tom was, no, Faust would not carry Stype.
Absolutely not. Even though Stype is a halfling, so Faust probably could if he was so inclined, but he is not so inclined.
No. Yeah. Your Autognome friend Sparks is receiving some repairs from Kronkanks, the gnome surveyor at House Morn, one of the merchant houses. Sorry, so he will not be able to investigate with you at the moment while he receives. Some of others of you have met Kronkanks, who is a fairly surly and difficult tinker gnome, but who has struck up a working relationship with Sparks. So Sparks will not be with us tonight. So how do you want to proceed then? What's the game plan? I'll leave it to you players to decide. What are you doing next?
Stype would like to see if we can blag a healing spell out of somebody so that he doesn't have to just lie down for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas on that? Welcome. My feeling was that potentially we go to the Temple of Olympus again, or the Pantheonic Temple again, find somebody who wasn't that haughty priest of Zeus, and say that we're on a noble quest trying to find a missing child, and it would be of much help if I was in fighting condition.
Mm-hmm.
I could always agree to do some job for them or something if that's something they'll do.
So,
What do people think? What any other views?
Well, a question for the DM about second edition generally, and I guess this will be a little bit of learn to play second edition with with Jay and the and the Gut of Stars.
Yeah.
What are our means for restoring our hit points?
So you can heal people, like you can cast spells to heal or buy spells because you're in a city. You can probably find a healer who'll do that, or healing potions, all the stuff you'd kind of normally expect. The other option is on page 105 of the 2.0 Player's Handbook. Characters heal naturally at a rate of 1 hit point per day of rest. If you've got complete bed rest for an entire day, you regain 3 hit points for that day. And you can obviously also magical heal.
It's a long way from 5th edition, go to bed and everything will be fine in the morning, basically.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, indeed. So yeah, it does mean like you can get hurt and badly, and we probably will institute an injuries table. We'll give Stype the benefit of the doubt this time. But there will be consequences to getting yourself hurt.
Okay.
But yes, you will Stype. Usually, our Death's Door rule, which is an optional rule that I've adapted for this. You'll need to spend a week on light duty, no combat or spell casting, slow movement prior to adventuring to returning. However, heal enables you to return to action immediately. So you can technically, I'd allow you if you're like, I want to go and try to talk to someone. That'd be fine. But you basically almost physically couldn't fight or cast spells. Like imagine someone who is just walking up and down the hospital corridor.
Yeah, precisely, which probably doesn't make me particularly useful.
We were suggesting you could play Faust instead.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be about as useful and a lot faster, but I don't know if my will as the player allows me to play as Faust.
Yeah. Any other player suggestions or desires? What do you want to do this session? Obviously, Stype is saying he wants to get healed so he can be useful.
So, I'm remembering last time things we discussed. We'd mentioned something about looking at the docks, making sure that this ward. Do we know their name or anything about them? Actually,
no. That was part of what was the noble lady who was behind like a mesh screen, and there's lots of incense and smoke in this temple, in this particular shrine within the Temple of Ptah. She did not give you that information on the basis that you might find it out eventually, but essentially the less you knew about her, the less that you could compromise her until you actually had information.
Well, did she give us like anything, any way of identifying?
Yeah, she gave you a physical
child?
description. She is an 8-year-old. She's an 8-year-old. She is human. She is blonde.
The starting point, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think
so
we also have the location in the city where she went missing, so we know
Where she
where it
last seen
happened.
anyway.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
And you had a chaplaincy pass from the Temple of Ptah, basically that you were on an errand from them to the noble estates. They were happy to give you a legitimate cover story for one visit as part of their contract, because they were bonding the contract between the noble lady and you. They were the sort of official guarantee that this is all on the up and up.
the Phsphl was maybe a little bit shook up after the fight last time and was feeling a bit tired, and this didn't quite occur to him. But the cogs in his reptilian brain have turned, and he announces to the group, "I have skills in information gathering."
Intriguing.
Like,
When it comes
That
to picking up the word on the street, Phsphl in his bounty hunting profession may have an advantage here.
I'm torn between asking questions and deciding that I really don't want to know what the details of this are.
does this mean
Where
like,
did you learn these skills, Phsphl?
does
So-
that mean like interrogation or?
Well, without becoming too meta, he's proficient in information gathering. So when it comes to essentially in his,
He basically has a skill in it, doesn't he?
in
Is
his
it literally just called information gathering?
yeah, and there's a description in areas he's familiar with. He has some advantage at gathering information from the local, ne'er-do-wells and stuff.
Yeah. So you've got that option. You've got the option of going to the noble estates. You've got Stype's desire to get healed.
I think we'd mentioned something last time about looking at the docks, maybe asking around there, seeing if she, making sure she hadn't been taken off the Rock of Bral.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure she hadn't ended up aboard a ship.
Well, I guess that actually sounds like exactly what Phsphl's talking about. As in getting the download from the roughs.
Yeah. That seems probably like the
Cool.
best
Well,
place to
you pick
start.
what you're doing first.
I mean, at the risk of, blowing up Owen's head from the sentence he really doesn't want to hear, Should we maybe split up? So
No.
some of us can go and get...
No. That's actually
Fair
not.
enough.
That's actually not. I know that's not the sentence the DM hates, because the DM will just like cackle and rub their hands.
Yeah.
The question that DM hates the most is, what's his name?
Yeah.
It's like,
How do you
you know,
spell it?
random NPC number 47 that hasn't got a name. You know, what's the goblin's name?
Bob.
What's that goblin's name?
Glob. Flob.
He can do this all day, Alex.
Well,
Yeah,
Stype's gonna limp on over to the temple, the Pantheonic temple, one way or the other. And he's happy to like find the rest of you, when, you know, wherever you go. You know, you can just ride crops around, I suppose.
Yeah, what if we go to the docks?
Remember, it is evening.
Stype goes to the temple, and then we tell Stype to meet us at the noble estates.
Yeah, that'll work.
Well, it is quite late already, so whilst the docks are definitely worth looking into today, I don't know if it's worth going to the noble estate today as well.
Nobles love being canvassed in the middle of the night.
Yes.
I guess, how late is it, Owen? What time of day is it?
Your meeting was at 9 o'clock, so it's like 9:30 now, or something, or 9:20.
Yeah, it might be a little late. I don't know. Are these, you know, roaring 20s all-night rages type nobles, or?
I mean, there is one noble who, by repute, Flynn will know is like that. The Rygar noble Hastane, famous decadent, very parties basically every night. I'm not sure most of the other nobles would enjoy. Yes, people stomping, trying to sneak into their estates in the evening. They might shoot and ask questions later.
We'll invite ourselves in for a spot of port. Yeah, so I guess maybe we should just hit him in the morning.
Cool. Up to you.
Unless that's what you wanted us to say.
No, I am pretty relaxed about what players do. We were talking about this before the stream, that when you play a sandbox, you have to like learn to rely on prep that involves knowing the environment, but not actually knowing anything about what's going to happen or being able to prepare anything else. So,
well, it's been one day, so if we
yeah.
wait one more evening, I feel like, I don't know.
I definitely think checking the docks is a good idea. And if there is this noble who likes to carouse late into the night, I mean, that might be worth a try tonight, and then we can always get the more respectable people tomorrow.
Well, we've only got the one pass to get us into the noble estates, so we might, you know, it might be a bit difficult to blag our way into if we need a second attempt.
Does it get used up though, or is it just like a seal that we can show as many times as we want?
What I think I think it was the assumption was it was one trip, but it was essentially if the upper city magistrates stop you while you're walking around, the noble estates aren't actually walled off. You can see on the map of the Rock of Bral, the noble estates are over here.
Yeah.
And you can see they're west of Lake Bral and west of the actual city, the original city walls, which was what were, well, I guess the area the original founder of the modern Principality of Bral, Prince Kozar, kind of seized for his own and built this wall around it. The noble estates are just the next bit along, next to the Elven Forest. You can see most of the noble estates are large estates, or there's a few restaurants and theatres. There's a small residential area of kind of more ordinary means on the southern end. But yeah, so essentially you can walk in there, no one will stop you walking in there. But I think the question was if you're doing something, magistrates might be like, why are you poking things? Why are you stopping people in the street? You could be like, oh, we're on the business of the Temple Ptah. So it depends what you want to do in the noble estates.
So if it's just try and sneak into a party and schmooze with nobles there, then we might not need to worry so much. So that might be worth doing, because do we know what kind of time these parties run till?
Hastane, by repute, they run pretty much most of the day or night at some point.
So we could probably go have a talk around the docks. Maybe you know talk with people as they're coming off shift or whatever, and then head over that way.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flynn will be able to tell you that Hastane's, if I can actually get my ping, Hastane's estate is there. It's actually, yeah, that one just poking out on the eastern southern shore of Lake Bral there.
Cool.
Okay.
I guess the question then
Yeah.
is, does Flynn have a big enough wardrobe to help some of us sneak into a nobleman's party?
I think he may struggle with some of the sizing.
Yeah, not for the major, and I'm not sure the rest of you. I'm not sure that my outfits would go with your whole thing.
What, you don't think Phsphl would make a particularly dashing lizard in all the ruffles?
No,
I'm just disappointed we don't get to stick a bow tie on Sparks.
Just a spinning one.
Magnetic.
In fact, Sparks said he had to see Cronkanks right at this point in character. As you're like, let's get costumes and go. Sparks was like, Sparks must leave now. Bye. He rolls out of the temple. Yeah.
All right, let's go stop at the docks and hit that first. See if there's any scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
Cool. Stype will go via the temple and meet you there.
Tom, do you want is Faust? I mean, Faust can be sent with them if you want him to. I don't know what Faust's views on the matter are, but if you want Faust to go to the docks with everyone else, he can.
I think Faust will follow. Yeah, Faust will be happy to follow them.
Yeah, because you can keep Krups for riding purposes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Wait, so we just have a goat following us?
Yep.
Yes. How do you feel about this then?
Whose goat is that? What? Yeah, we're halfway across the city. It's like, why is there a goat following us? What's happening?
Yeah, he's probably following at a very slight distance, looking not pleased with you. I kind of feel like that feels like how he would deal with this situation.
Yeah, he's displeased that there's no fodder in the immediate vicinity, but he's got high hopes for the smell of the docks. He reckons there'll be plenty of salvage around there.
Just trying to see if I can find Stype's token. No, I can't. That's weird. Okay, well, I won't worry about uploading him right now. I will just give you another token for now. If that's okay with you, Tom? Just so that we know that you are separate from everyone else.
Yep, that's fine.
There we go. There's not a halfling, but that will do. Okay, that is a priest. There we go. So you guys are heading back out of the middle city towards the docks over here. Well, towards the dockside. I guess dockside bars, things like that, I assume is what you're planning? Well, this is Phsphl's play, so it's up to him. But...
Yeah.
I sort of imagined.
Jay?
I sort of imagined wherever the actual sort of transit center is, but I guess bars could work as well.
Well, yeah. So the docks are. You've not got there yet, but the docks are where I'm signaling here with these quaysides. This is where the warehouses are and things like that. The master of the docks, which I think might be shut right now, but which is the customs and so on bureau. And yeah, this is there are also there's some docking available down here, and this is also shipyards on that lower plateau. But yeah, no, great. In that case, shall we have? I guess first of all, do you want to roll a middle city encounter check? 1d6. Oh no, 1d6. As you head across to the lower city.
One in my typical fashion.
Brilliant.
Great. That is a D8.
To resort to violence,
If you're
guys.
D8 to see what.
Hot and
8.
cold.
Could you roll me another 6? Another D6, that is. 3. So as you you're heading from you're around here, aren't you? As you head down the streets toward the docks, the evening is setting in, and already there's a night traffic. The Rock of Bral is a trading port, so it's always busy. It's always full of life, if you want to call it that. But definitely, it's more lively at this point of the night than at other times. You're passing just on the street. It is, you come off Manor War Street, heading toward Lamp Street, and you hear some shouting and some screaming to your southwest, up in a kind of an apartment block, I guess you could call it.
Huh.
So in this block here,
Does the Rock
not
of Bral
as in there's a
have like vigilantism laws or anything? You know.
No, I mean, there's self-defense is fine. It's basically the further west on the rock, as we looked at, that they actually use those terms, even though it's just an asteroid floating in space. This is the top side actually, but at the further west, the further left on your map, the more stuff is tolerated, because it's a bit rougher. The further right you are, the less you doing your own thing is tolerated.
Do any of the screams sound like they might be a young girl? We randomly cracked
Very
the case.
specifically.
Yeah.
Was it a blonde screen?
Man, that was an amazing campaign. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
No, they're some sort of outrage or upset, probably from adults. I mean, yeah, certainly at least one voice is a woman's voice. There seem to be some other some sort of loud conversation, movement, upset.
I'm guessing
in that
this sort of thing isn't, especially atypical in this side of town.
Not necessarily. I mean, you're in the middle city, so it's a mixture. Some of it's bits are rougher, bits are nicer. You're just at the boundary of the lower city.
Might as well just go take a look. Just poke my head around a corner and see what all the hubbub is about.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I would assume you kind of head up to. This is a large stone-built. To call it a tenement might make it sound worse than it is. It's literally a tenement building, and there is a human woman at the front door to it, shouting at a bemused-looking magistrate from the Middle Magistrates Patrol. He seems to be attempting to leave, and she's telling him that he has to go and find her stolen goods.
Oh. Well, we already have a job, and I don't think we can take on a. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we, find them,
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to keep it down, madam. You're starting to disturb the locals here.
Okay, I think that's a reaction check, isn't it? Let's go for it. Give the major strides over as there's this conversation ongoing. She looks up with a mixture of terror and disgust. Not as the major says this, and she's like, and just starts muttering under her breath as she backs up the stairs. Bet you're in cahoots with them. So, she's walking. She's like backing off fairly rapidly as she does this. The middle magistrate guardsman just looks up at the major and just walks off. He takes the opportunity to leave.
Well done,
That's
Major.
our good deed for the day. Always happy to help in the local community.
You saved that defenseless lawman from this.
Doing his job.
From a vicious haranguing. Yeah, so I'll just write down. What do you think? 1,000 XP for that? I think? I'll just write that down.
Yeah. Special story award.
Yeah.
But you did rout an enemy. No, you routed enemies. That's half XP. You just got to work out what her XP is.
There we go.
You know what's
She's
the
a zero. She's a 0 HD. Yeah, she's a 0 hit die commoner. I think that might be 2.5 XP split between 5 of you because Faust counts as a henchman.
And then round it down, and we'll look at that. It's 0 XP. I see. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The maths checks out.
Good. Seems
Well,
legit.
yeah.
Alex,
let's not get involved.
do you wanna roll Yeah. Yeah, I'm assuming that you're just ongoing, given that at least the Major and Flynn seem to be walking off. Nothing
Who
to see
resolved
here.
the situation?
No interest at all.
we have a mission.
Phsphl's like, yeah. Phsphl's like, it doesn't smell like a young human to hunt. I mean, find. Yeah. So you head into the lower city. It's rowdy. It's not like there isn't just open violence constantly. In that sense, the reason that the Major was dragged in front of the low city magistrate was because usually just killing people in the street is frowned on. In this case, you had witnesses who are like, they were just attacked in the middle of the street whilst on a job. Yeah, it's rough down this end.
It's like Newcastle on a Saturday night.
I mean that's I think that's very insulting to the Rock of Bral, Alex.
Yeah, they don't have
It's
Gotham City here.
It's a hive of scum and villainy, but it's not Newcastle. So Alex, do you want to roll your lower city encounter check? D6.
Yeah. Opposite end of the scale. 6.
Yeah, that's also an encounter.
Ah!
Yeah. So you arrive down in the dock area. There are a bunch of bars to check out. First of all, I'll let you take a choice, just so that you can make your roll anyway, because you can just canvass the street. But if there is a particular place you choose that you think might help you, it may benefit your roll. Okay, so in terms of, it depends, but your boarding house, the Red House, is down here, run by Gertrude, the friendly if firm gnome matron who runs the boarding house you and your giant space hamster live in. There's the sign of the Black Bolt, which is a bit of a rough place, quite secretive, quite private. People give you funny looks if you go in and you're not a regular. The Rampant Lion is a pretty decent crowd, pleasant place for this end of town. The Crooked Square, where the shipwrights go to drink, is very rowdy. The Torn Topsail is a dockers pub. And there's a couple of inns, and the Laughing Beholder is down at the other end of the dock, out of Lowtown actually, but that's infamous for being it. There's rumours that the landlord is an interesting character, the Laughing Beholder.
Either the rowdy place or maybe the dockers pub. I'm thinking the dockers pub maybe there's more likely to be someone present who might have witnessed something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see the logic, yeah.
What does the party think?
That does make sense. If we're wanting to see if someone's been taken off world, then it would make sense to look at people who work with ships.
What's Faust's opinion?
Which one smells most like it has food?
I feel like probably the one that smells more of fermented wheat in the gutter is probably the Torn Topsail, but they both are fairly smelly, which for Faust would be function as a food signal.
Yeah. Well, Faust is happy to go to the slightly more pungent one, which happens to line up with the party's opinion, I believe. So.
Does anyone know why the goat
you
gets
head to
the
the
goat?
Torn Top. The disturbing thing, Major, is as you're discussing this, Faust turns towards the torn topsail and starts walking there. So I guess, for non-weapon proficiencies, this is for you, Jay / Phsphl. You roll a d20 and you're trying to equal or under the relevant ability. So if it's like wisdom minus plus 0, it'd just be your raw wisdom. You'd need to roll, say your wisdom was 12, you need to roll 12 or less on a d20. You are going to get a bonus to whatever your relevant score is of 2 for going to the torn topsail. So yeah, what ability score does information gathering use?
Intelligence.
And what's your intelligence?
My lowest skill. 11.
And that's going to be 13 then, isn't it? Because you've got a +2 for the purpose of this specific role.
Great. That wasn't a min-max decision there, but we'll roll with it.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to roll a d20, and you want a 13 or less to feel like you've struck gold. Yeah, that's an 8. So you managed to pick up some of your contacts. You know, you do know people here. You are respected as a bounty hunter, as a pretty junior one. But remember, like a first level character, even in a cosmopolitan place like the Rock of Bral, a first level character is heroic, if you know what I mean. They are a serious piece of business. And so people know, first of all, they know he's done a few jobs before. And some of the dockers are people of your acquaintance. So what kind of information are you looking for from your contacts, first of all?
I guess without wanting to, arouse too much, give the game away too quickly, I suppose I start with small talk, the comings and goings. Has anything notable happened? And then I suppose people know I'm a bounty hunter and know that that's the kind of work I do. I suppose I might start floating the idea of any distressed children been seen, or anyone travelling with unlikely looking children, possibly distressed looking or just out of place.
So I think your contacts probably will. When they're like, "What's happening?" You hear about the problems of the malingerers' cholera, the difficulties with recruiting longshoremen and shippers. There's a lot of work around if people are looking for it, and probably, you'd be told that is actually it's not a bad time to be working. In fact, the bars are a bit quieter. It does feel like, despite the malingerers' cholera, people aren't taking enormous precautions, but it's quieter than normal. But yeah, they say there's a lot of work going. There's some word of scroll raids coming from the outskirts of the system, which obviously Gil will, and indeed Sparks, if you were here, would both have opinions about. But there have been some scroll raiders, which is technically against the nominal ceasefire between the inner worlds and the Scroll of Spiral. Does Gil have an opinion on that?
A damn Scroll coming in here, ruining my planet. How dare they? Grumble,
yeah.
Grumble.
Yeah, great.
Probably takes a deep drink and continues his tirade or something, getting slightly off track.
Yeah. I mean, no one here is disagreeing with you. This is like a friendly crowd for that. No one really likes this because the second Unhuman War, which still there are many flashpoints, has calmed down in this crystal sphere, and the Scrow captured the elven world of Spiral, which is where Gil, who's a human, originally hails from. I think, no one is that impressed with them. Scrow are violent, Scrow. They mess up business, probably fair to say. As for your second question, first of all, because you're kind of wondering, particular travellers, had anyone seen a little girl or anything like that? I don't think. Initially nothing comes to mind. No one can remember a passenger ship going out with or coming in with a little girl. Probably someone will eventually say that he doesn't know if she, but you're saying a blonde girl, doesn't know if they're blonde, but did see some kind of kid down around the warehouses yesterday evening, when this guy's a longshoreman and was moving stuff, but remember seeing a kid. With some humans. He just assumed that this kid was. In fact, he'll probably say to you, the kid's probably just an apprentice or something, an apprentice longshoreman, but with some humans heading towards some warehouses. He saw them near the trading company is not a trading company; it's a mercenary company. He saw them fairly near that. I'll just ping on the map where that one is, if I can get a reasonable read on my map here. At the west end of Grand Street, which is here. What's that word there? At the west end of Grand Street.
And that's where the child was saying.
Yeah, heading up into the warehouse district. You can kind of see the warehouses along the dock here, can't you? On that western side.
Yeah.
Could be that she's just run off. Wants to, feeling stifled at home. Maybe she wanted to go and.
What? She knocked out all her guards and ran all the way across town.
She's a very resourceful child.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know. I think it's probably worth going and taking a look.
Definitely.
Yep.
Before leaving the pub, Faust takes a look around and sees if there's any tables with unattended drinks, and if there is, he's going to headbutt the leg of said table with a view to knocking the drink off so that he can drink it from the floor.
Well, Faust judges that it's unattended in the sense that the guy next to it is asleep on the table. I doubt this stops Faust.
No, that's quite unattended enough.
The table. Yeah, the guy falls on the floor and starts shouting and swinging his fists from a prone position.
Faust.
Well, Faust is probably licking up the.
Faust licks up some of the drink and then slopes out of the pub with the party.
I don't know if that's the best trained goat I've ever seen or the worst trained goat I've ever seen.
It's possibly the most free-willed goat I've ever seen. Or maybe not. You know how goats are.
Yeah,
I really don't.
How goats are.
So just to switch over for a second up to Stype. You stagger back to the Temple of Planar Olympus. I guess is your plan. And what do you? Yeah, you'll find the acolyte, the kid, wearing a helmet of Mars, of Ares rather. There. What do you want to say? What's the plan?
Stype says, "Look, I'm on a very important mission. We're looking for a lost child, and I was hoping if you could see your way to introducing me to one of your priests to Hermes. Meaning no disrespect to the High Priest of Zeus, but he's got a certain set of priorities, and healing isn't among them."
I'll check. I will give you a reaction check on the acolyte. Given, I don't think you got one last time because you were taken straight to Socrates, the rather haughty. Yeah, the kid is. What's your? Do you have a charisma modifier?
I do not think so. Let me just check.
A reaction modifier.
Let me just have a quick look.
Yeah, he looks a bit skittish. probably not hostile, but skittish.
Yeah, my charisma.
Kind of looking around. He's like a, yeah, that'll probably be a +0. Yeah, he will look skittishly around and say, Sokratos really didn't seem too impressed by those others. I mean, they said none of them come to offer sacrifice here or donate here, and he just didn't seem very happy about it at all.
Well, if I manage to complete this job, then I'll be more than happy to pay their way in sacrifices.
He then kind of looks around and he's like, do you think there'll be any fighting involved in this?
Not if we're lucky, but there's always the possibility.
Because he says, I think if you were to offer something to Ares, then I'm sure that he would help on your quest. Whilst I go and talk to find the priest of Hermes. He's rustling you.
I see. Let's see what I've got. I am not really holding anything very much. Let's see here. I mean, I have 1 gold piece. Actually, I've got. I'm riding Crops around, and Crops is carrying a cask of mediocre ale, which I could offer him.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably enough. He'll take this kind of like 15-year-old acolyte will probably take that. We'll go and hunt out a priest of Hermes who is like does not where Sokratos, the priest of Zeus, was quite kind of quite Jupiterian. He was quite impressive, tall, big white beard. Handsome, stern-looking. This priest of Hermes, though he is wearing the wings of Hermes on his helmet, is a bit overweight, but he is the senior priest of Hermes, and he's roused from his bed. Probably this is up whilst the guys are at the pub. You've had to wait around. You've had to... The kid comes back kind of smelling of beer, pulling on this sleepy priest of Hermes who also smells slightly of beer. Who will look you up and down and be like, apparently you're offering, you're promising great sacrifice if something's done for you. He'll say, Demeter, she's usually good for it, if you know what I mean. And when there's like no response, he'll just kind of crash on and just be like, so anyway, what do you want?
Well, I was.
And what are you promising? He'll say. I want to know what the sacrifice is.
Oh, well, I can speak with my community, and they'll, I'm sure, be willing to give up some of their lambs and kids for sacrifice. How would five unspoiled lambs do? He'll look. He visibly licks his lips. That's a lot of lamb. So he'll. He says, "Okay, what do you want?"
A heal spell.
Well, and then he stops himself. He says, "What kind petitioner would you ask in response?"
I would ask the boon of healing from Hermes.
He'll kind of say, "Well, I think I've got a scroll that I got from a traveling priest of Apollo somewhere around here." And then I say, "Of course, the divine Hermes will bless you on your quest in return for your kind, noble promises." And then he'll sort of slump off in a very much less dignified style than his speech to go and find this scroll of heal, which he will, he will cast for you.
Great. So I'm now effectively no longer at death's door.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Just animals, I'd say that's about, given you on the Rock of Bral, that's about, well, 10 gold would be what it normally would cost. And they're perfect unblemished lambs and you're on the Rock of Bral, so that's probably 30 gold of sacrifice you promised.
Yeah, well, we'll see how. We'll see
What
how
are we
much.
being paid if we do find her?
50 a head.
Yeah, that's fine then. Stype's a peasant
Well,
priest, he's not
55
gonna
a
have
head
much
because you've
gold.
already all take your meeting fee. Yeah. He's a peasant priest. He actually is not looking for large reserves.
Okay, in that case, Stype, now healed, will make his way down towards the docks, but I guess depending on how late it gets, he might just go straight to the boarding house.
Yeah. Phsphl, are you wanting to follow any leads tonight from this?
I don't know what to expect at this warehouse, really. What does everyone else think?
I think if nothing else, we can try and peek through a window or something.
Mm-hmm.
A good old-fashioned stakeout. I've heard of these.
I don't know if it's a stakeout so much as we're just gonna see if we find this kid and if the kid matches who we're looking for.
Or if we find anything suspicious, really.
Well, at least,
Alright.
if the child's not blonde, I guess we can rule it out. If it's not her, then I doubt there's going to be any connection.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the play?
Head down there.
Knock on the door.
No,
Roman?
no, we don't knock on the door. We don't kick the door. We want to figure out if the place is actually suspicious. Because if it's like, just a legitimate place of business, but it's got nothing shady going on at all, we don't want to get like arrested for 4 days and let the trail go cold.
But don't most front organizations look like legitimate places of business?
Well,
You have to get inside before you can find the shady stuff.
You sound far too experienced about this, Major.
Phsphl might be able to recognise a illegitimate place for business.
I guess let's go down there and see.
Yeah.
Come up with a plan when we've got the measure of the place a little bit.
What if we knock on the door and I ask if they offer kidnapping services for hire? And if they say yes, we've got them.
But what if they ask if you're here to free their captives?
Well, I'll say no. I'm looking to get a captive.
I do feel there
I'm
may
in the
be
market
slight
for kidnap victims.
downside to advertising yourself as a slave trader.
I think just looking through the windows is a much better plan.
Oh well, then do your better plan.
If you like. Which window is it?
Or any of them.
Alright, back in the mall.
No, Major, no.
No, it's fine. We'll send the sneakiest of us to look through the window. Major, go ahead. I'm sure you're well known for your stealth ability.
Stype, I should say, if you're wanting to catch up, you're probably able to catch up in the sense that the torn topsail is actually where I've got the party marker here, and the boarding house is where I've put your marker. Could you roll an encounter check though as you
D6?
head cross town? D6. Yeah.
That is a 1.
Seriously?
Okay.
Finish your drink, lads.
Yeah.
D8 was that, Owen?
I would say, what are the odds of that? But the odds were 16%, so I don't really need to ask. Yeah, do you want to roll a d6 there, Stype, as you head back over towards the boarding house? I guess that could probably a reasonable rendezvous point.
That was another 1. Just keep rolling 1s. Ridiculous.
Oh, sorry, could you... I'll keep that. I actually should have said a d10, but a 1 is at the bottom anyway. Stype, as you ride Krupp's back, feeling better, you are propositioned along the way from a dark alley. You cannot see who is calling you in for a good evening.
Stype doesn't really hold to that sort of thing. Him being a man of the cloth. You know, he's had an occasional tussle in a haystack when he was younger, but these city folk, he's not at all keen. So he's gonna sort of mutter a polite decline into the alley and encourage Krups to quicken his pace substantially.
As Krups goes, a large human male steps out from the probably. You don't think it's the person who's been calling to you. Someone else steps out and says, "You say we're not good enough for you. You're saying you're too holy and pious. Is that what you're saying?" And it starts to draw out a billy club.
From, as say, Krupp should hopefully be proceeding at pace at this point, and Stipe's not
I feel like this is like
diplomatic.
Rincewind from Discworld, isn't it? It's like a Rincewind approach. You're already fleeing by the time you noticed you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm heavy in flight at this point, and I'm just going to be like, no, thank you.
Yeah. In fact, who else? I'm just now thinking of Nick Frost's character from Hot Fuzz from the accent.
Yeah.
As the other party is, I guess, heading up towards you. Major, do you want to roll a d6 encounter check as you head up to join Stype? I would say, Stype, by the way, you're aware that the one thing I'd say about your thing is that you got a very good deal in terms of, a civilian would pay a lot more, suffice to say, for a heal scroll.
Yeah.
A heal cast. But at the same time, you're now, given you're not rich, you're much down pocket now, aren't you? So I guess for you, it's a bit of a wash. Great. That's no encounter on the way up as the party will reunite with Stype around the boarding house. And as I say, where the pink mark is, that is the end of Grand Street, which is where, is one opening into the warehouse district. The first building on the outside is where the mercenary company, the trading company, are located. That is where this child, indeterminate child, was seen near.
You don't tend to see many child apprentice mercenaries.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think we should peer in a window, at least at first. Peer in a window, listen at doors, that sort of thing.
We seem to be the
I wouldn't be
experts here.
surprised if the I was going to say, well, you've got 2 rogues, 2 thieves here, so they are, I guess, your expertise. Just getting the relevant, because I think I'm trying to think that the trading company, it may actually be open. Because they've got a warehouse. What the major will know about the trading company is they have a large warehouse on Bral, which is reputed to be more or less an export place for weaponry. They have a small number of ships and they lease others if necessary. And they do have a small card of trained mercenaries here for recruiting.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what the major knows about them. But yeah, I guess you can go to there, and yeah, I mean, are you actually trying to sneak around the outside or something? Like, as in you're trying to find, or you, as in when you say you're looking in the windows, do you mean you are attempting to sneak around?
I would suggest that we do, because we might as well, I suppose.
How big is this warehouse? Sorry.
It's a pretty. I think there's actually technically possibly 2 buildings with a main warehouse and like a. Oh, you know, there's a couple of big warehouses here, a couple 100 feet across.
Well, I mean, I suppose I could take a look. In theory, I am stealthy.
In theory.
I mean, you're certainly more stealthy than I am.
Yeah.
Most likely. I forgot for a moment that I was supposed to be a rogue.
I like to think that Flynn says that in character.
Yeah, I thought all I did was boast about things and not hit anyone in combat. But no, it turns out I can do other things in theory.
Yeah, fail.
Mm-hmm. So I guess I will take a cheeky peek.
Yeah, what are you moving silently then, per the rogue skill?
Well, I guess yeah. I guess I should, as opposed to moving very loudly.
Okay, what is your move silently rating?
Well, it's at an impossibly high 30%.
I mean, that's actually pretty good at first level. What's yours, Phsphl? What's your move silently?
It is. Oh, let me find it.
Yeah, my hide in shadows is lower.
Yeah.
Move silently. Yeah, 30 as well. Total.
Yeah, you've both got to a reasonable standard on that. Phsphl, are you sneaking as well, or are you doing something else?
I think, at the risk of leaving you high and dry, we only really need 1 pair of eyes, don't we?
Well, let's hope if I get caught that it's someone I can talk my way out of if they come confront me.
I don't know. Does it look worse if it's a dashing human and a weird lizard man stood there? Is that
Well, you
more
might
suspicious?
be able to look in different windows. I don't know if that would be helpful. I don't know how many windows there are.
Yeah.
Well, there are a few doors, and there are some windows at one end.
The more people who
Like
go,
the door.
the more chances are we get caught. So
yeah, that's fair.
and if I get caught, I will run. And if that doesn't work, it's okay. I've got a massive amount of hit points to protect me.
Nice.
Do you have 2 hit points?
I have 2.
I think
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, right.
I should work on my backup character, I think.
Yeah, start rolling. So yeah, Flynn probably trying to avoid the front door, kind of heading off at an angle, possibly up the slope of the kind of there's a ridge and then a gentle cliff down to the docks from here, and you take tracks down to the actual dock. So probably you're climbing around on the hill next to it. Yeah, as you're going reasonably stealthily, but you know you're not kind of crashing around as you try to head above the warehouse. But a watch light swings across like a lantern from the roof as you are in the kind of area of mud and soil and gorse, and flashes across you and seems to freeze on you as you are. You actually don't see the light beforehand. It's probably been behind either a battlement or it's been unveiled, like it's been a hooded lantern, and it seems to drop roughly where you are in some gorse. Flynn, what do you do?
I drop to the ground suddenly and start fumbling around in the weeds like I'm looking for something. Oh, blasted! Where are those glasses? I knew they were around here somewhere.
Let's. Do you have a charisma bonus, or do you have a reaction bonus? I think you do, don't you?
I have a 2, and a further 2 if it's with a lady who might find me nice.
Your luck is in on the randomly generated watch woman, who you rolled a reaction in my dice tray here, and you hear a voice saying, "How did you lose your glasses there?"
Well, I believe it may have been the other night when we were taking a shortcut to try to get to an establishment. I forget the name in this area, but I thought it was around here. Could you move the light over there? Maybe it's over there. Sort of crawl over to another place.
She dutifully does so. Not obviously completely convinced by Flynn, but I think that there's maybe just a sense of tone of pity in her voice. This guy who's crawling around on the floor in some gorse bushes on a hill. Probably, I don't know how close the rest of you are to this, as to whether or not you've picked up that he's been made.
I think we'd probably have tried to keep him in sight, but I suppose we'd keep reasonably far back, otherwise not much point in him being sneaky.
Yeah. I mean, you're opposite the Hanwo Cobblery at the edge of Shoetown, so I guess that would be a few hundred yards away at most. So if there's lots of noise, you could probably have been there. To the south,
like what's going on kind of distance. Yeah, you probably see you probably hear some noise from there, but I'm not sure, like based on the angle, whether or not because he's to the south of the building and you're kind of off to the east of it. So I don't know if you could see the light. You are being, not impolitely, but jostled in a fairly standard manner by both Shoe and dockers coming in and out of the cobblery, getting their shoes repaired, and there's also like a bit of a laundry business here as well. There's a lot of humidity coming out of this place, which probably isn't great for the boots.
Would you mind not pushing? We're trying to get a good look here.
Yeah, the short dwarven sailor looks up at you, and then looks across. But there's nothing to see. Obviously, the way you're looking, you can't actually see anything. So it's just like, it's a warehouse boy. Not seen one before.
We're on stakeout. Mum's the word.
Gil's just complete face palm.
What about Phsphl and Stype?
I mean, Stype is willing to go with the Major's explanation. I think we've been made now. It doesn't matter to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll ask this dwarf.
Flynn,
I haven't seen a
doing
girl
now?
around here, have you? Young child, blonde.
He looks at you, he's like, what's wrong with you, Moe? And storms off.
Well, worth a try.
Not how you want to end that interaction.
Can I just take a break for 2 minutes?
Yeah, go for it. Flynn, what are you doing?
Oh, I guess I'll stand up as if I'm giving up, frustrated, and be like, well, blasted, I'll have to buy another pair, I suppose. Well, say, this is near the warehouses for the docks, isn't it?
Should look at way. Yes, it is.
Looking up into the light.
Yeah, you can see she does. For all her courtesy, she was like holding a light crossbow on you.
Hey, you know, I seem to recall that my wife's second cousin's friend's niece was doing an apprenticeship around here. You wouldn't happen to know a girl, maybe 8 or 10 years old, who's working around here? Maybe I could pop in and say hi.
You can't see her face, but her voice, as she tells you that she does not know of any, sounds like she thinks that you are some sort of head case. Like, she's like, no, I don't know any 8-year-old dock apprentices who are little girls. No.
Well, maybe I'm mistaken. You know, it was a conversation at a dinner party the other night. Well. Perhaps
she'll be like, we move in different circles, obviously. Flynn, from where you are, by the way, you can see to your north there is the trading company, and to your west down the hill there is another large warehouse. From where you're standing up, like down the hill to further down the slope onto the cliff.
I'm trying to think of a coded way. I'm trying to think of a coded way of speaking loud enough to tell Phsphl that now that I have the attention, now's his chance to get further than me. But I don't think I have any way of saying that without being too obvious to the guard.
Yeah, I mean, he could hear you shout.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know how to word it to not make it obvious.
Yeah.
I'll just say, well, since I doubt you want to come down here and help me look, I suppose I'll just have to give up on this fool's errand. Perhaps I'll see you in the pub later. I can buy you a drink. Haha.
She'll say, I don't think I'd go to your kind of dinner party, but that's very kind. Yeah, your way back to the cities and she'll like point to the east, and then get her hand back onto the crossbow.
Okay. Well, I don't think I can push it because I won't be able to get anywhere and get a sneaky peek at this point anyway, so I might as well just head back the way I came until I'm out of range of the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you can head back over to the Hanway Cobblery where, like, I think the fact that the Major has said loudly, we're on a stakeout while standing outside of a cobblery, staring at another business, I don't think anyone's actually paying any attention to it. It just seems weird to them. The best cover is seeming stupid.
This was like a normal
in abundance.
This was a normal guarded, like you would expect this behavior, guarding like a warehouse like this.
Yeah. I think the office to the trading company was open because it's a mercenary company. They take orders all hours, as it were. Yeah, the idea that on the top of the warehouse side of it there is a watchman would be standard practice. I think probably anyone in the party, but especially the Major or Phsphl could probably tell you that.
Okay, so I guess the question is, what is the likelihood that this lead is in any way interesting? Like, could we imagine a mercenary trading company be involved in this?
Well, I mean, they're mercenaries, so you have to imagine that potentially they could be involved in anything.
So far, our options are either some third party went to the noble quarter, knocked out all the guards, like it was some sort of magical ability, snatched the girl and got away with no one reporting anything, or the girl is in on it, right? She did it. She kidnapped herself. Those are our two working theories so far.
There's no theory that she kidnaps herself.
Well, she wanted to run away, and she was involved, because that actually makes it seem almost more likely that if she was somehow involved, that no one else would notice, because she wouldn't have been making a fuss. She would have gone along.
I guess
Just
that's
fine.
true, but I mean, if they managed to knock out all the guards, it stands to reason that they could have knocked out her as well.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming it was a sleep spell that they used. You know, being that is the easiest way of putting people to sleep.
Man, they should have hired higher HD guards.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, a 6-hit dice guard.
Beach and Alex have been in a party recently who got colour sprayed.
Oh.
I was like, none of us. We were like first and second level. We're not going to get up from this. And I was like, no.
Yeah, we made the mistake of being too low level. Should have been higher level.
Yeah, should have had more hit points.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a bust, but still potentially something to look into.
Yeah. By the way, I'm assuming, that Flynn just tells everyone everything he's seen.
Yeah, I tell them everything I've seen,
back.
that I was waylaid by a guard at the tower. I didn't relay exactly how I dropped down and fumbled around on the ground. We'll just leave those details out.
Yeah.
I mean, there is always the option of coming back tomorrow and just walking in the front door.
Yeah, I think that might be the best way for us to cut our losses right now.
Yeah.
They're a mercenary recruiting company. We're mercenaries.
Very good point.
Are you still wanting to go to Hastain's party tonight? Was that still a thing? Or are you planning to canvass the noble estates during the day as well?
I suppose we could. There's no real reason.
Yeah, we could do
Not
both, couldn't
to.
we? Parties are a good place to pick up gossip. Flynn should be
I
good
see
at
no
that.
way this could go wrong.
3 canapés. I mean, it's better than the food that we get at the boarding house.
Almost
They've
certainly.
been feeding you?
It's because all of your food's been going to, was it Nibbles?
Yeah, Nibbles. Nibbles is the giant space hamster, which Sparks, the Autognome, has particularly adopted, but which I'm not sure anyone else is particularly impressed by the ownership of.
Yeah, I think I've mostly just been living off the barrel of wine I bought with my asteroid payout,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I do actually have listed as a thing, because I bought a wineskin and realised it didn't come with wine. So,
So you've got like a ton of wine or something just there, which you tap regularly as
Yep.
nutrition. Okay,
Full of
great.
vitamins.
So yeah, Major Phsphl, I guess, is the and anyone else, but Major Phsphl, anyone else? What are you doing? Is it bedtime or is it party time?
the vote seems to be party time, so again, I'm... Yep. This is
I'm,
definitely
are
not my
you-
area of expertise, even though I'm probably going to be convinced it's my area of expertise. So,
how outlandish a presence would Phsphl be?
Not as outlandish as you'd think. At least in terms of Hastain's reputation, as far as Flynn knows it. He is, known as a bit of a dilettante and party boy. Let's just If I can.
So what would be more inconspicuous? Us turning up in tuxedos or us turning up in thongs?
I don't know. He is a Rygar. Rygar are like human-like ancestry. He lives in a villa. His lifestyle has been described as an endless party of bizarre entertainments and undisguised depravity.
Oh dear.
Faust's ears prick up.
Sounds like
That's
ungentlemanly
disturbing. He
conduct.
seems to understand what's being said. Yeah, yeah. The Major disapproves.
So what's the plan, guys?
So, I mean, are you going as you are, or are you suiting up or suiting down, or what's the plan?
I mean, I can't imagine Gil has much to suit up into beyond,
same
you
for
know.
Stype.
I think he'd can't.
Andrew, oh yeah, you're back. I was thinking about Jim.
Yeah, I accidentally pressed back
You're
on
back.
my mouse.
No, that's fine. Sorry, Alex, you're saying.
I think Gil had already like kind of put on his clean shirt and, you know, cast like cantrip to clean up his hair and you know, perfume himself.
Yeah.
So, like as nice as he gets.
Could Gil cast cantrip on Stype?
I think he probably would have done that earlier if asked, because he's only got one use of it a day.
All right, I see.
It's an hour long, so he can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long it's been since then, but yeah.
Tell Gil to just unbutton just two more buttons.
This shirt has buttons. Just kind of rips the collar down another inch or so.
There you go.
Yeah. It kind of probably just about pulls it off. Yeah. So I guess we need to start rolling encounters as you go across town. Can we have a low city encounter? I guess Bees, do you want to roll an encounter as you go across the low city?
Ah. A 2.
What did you roll? 2. Yep.
2.
And how about yeah? Okay, we're back to Jay. Do you want to roll a middle city encounter as you? What'd you get?
That's another D6, yeah.
Yeah, D6 check.
Right.
Great.
3. And Major. Oh, sorry, Gil. You can roll an upper city encounter check as you enter the upper city for the first time in the campaign. It's a lot nicer here. You know, it's the streets are quite. They're busy in terms of it's an evening, but they're not rowdy. There's not pushing. There's well-dressed people walking along the streets, heading into some of the few restaurants there. Yeah, Gil, do you want to roll?
Yeah, I
Third
also
encounter
rolled
check.
3.
3. Okay. Yeah. So you will, I guess, head to Hastain's palace, which is down here. You get some funny looks probably for the. I mean, the Giff is in dress uniform, but both the Giff and the Lizardman probably get a look. Stype is a priest, and so even though he looks a bit poor, you know, he's a peasant priest. It's probably understood. Probably Stype. So you might even hear someone say, he's one of those friars. You know, they wear rags and have quite wonderful monasteries. And yeah, you can hear just a degree of cynicism in the voice as you pass by in your common garb. It's assumed, of course, that you are fabulously wealthy. But yeah, you know, you get some looks, but on the whole, it's you've got Flynn Manley, who has some reputation. The Major is in dress uniform. You know, you look legitimate. the funny thing about Hastain's palace is you come to the what it is a walled enclosure, but the gates are open and there are no guards visible. You see down the path, the kind of big drive, there are carriages parked at the end. You can see a large stone-built house with a brick roof, or sorry, like a slate roof, and there's music coming forth from it. You can hear, you can hear shouts. You can hear singing.
Suppose we'll
there are
go in
very
and start, start chatting with people, and maybe trying to find people who were around.
Yeah, probably I would say probably Flynn would be aware. I mean, he may not be surprised necessarily, but he'd probably be aware that normally noble estates have guards, and parties so there is some filter for who turns up, but apparently it is a bit of a come as you are environment. And as you head down the drive, you can see over the landscaped gardens, you can see all sorts of knots of people up to all sorts of activities. You hear laughter and many other noises. There are dozens of people out in the gardens, let alone anywhere else. You can you pass a slam poetry contest, which I imagine you dash on from as quickly as possible.
I take some psychic damage and then move on.
Yeah.
Stagger
Roll
away.
your new character, Flynn. You die instantly.
Oh no, I only have 2 hit points.
I guess are you? What are you doing? How are you? This up to I guess Flynn and Phsphl. What's the play here? How are you canvassing here?
Yeah,
What would Phsphl's approach be? What would Phsphl's approach be in this case to canvassing? Is what I
I'm
want to know.
not sure Phsphl has a clue what is going on.
He's looking around, just seeing the kind of collapse of the human race, apparently.
And enjoying it.
Yeah. The Rygar seems to have a taste for brass music, as you hear trombones and trumpets stemming from the house itself.
Managed to get the Rock of Bral's premier lounge band for this party.
Yeah.
Stype is going to try and
Yeah.
find the catering staff, basically, and try and talk to them
Yeah.
on the basis that he might know people on the supply side, may have, maybe not like connections
Yeah.
directly here, but would sort of know how it worked.
I would love to essentially
I
pretend like I'm gossiping
Yeah.
with the guests, and then over time steer the conversation to, did you hear the crazy thing that happened in the streets the other day? And just see if anyone knows or has heard about it or has information.
Yeah.
I will go
Okay.
stake out the buffet table.
What about you, Major?
I'm
Phsphl
going to
come
stake
with you
out
to
the
stake out the
table.
buffet table.
It's a stakeout, guys.
I would say these parties, boom, boom. These parties do always have like an awkward military officer, don't they?
Gil, I suspect, is going to
Like
Perfect.
standing by the table making failed conversation.
I think Gil will try and look after the major. Make sure he doesn't cause offence or have offence caused to him. Make sure no headbutting happens.
Gil has obviously like spent time with the Major like recently, including his we're on a stakeout play. What about Phsphl then? Okay, so that's what else is doing. What is Phsphl doing? Jay?
Sorry, muted. Probably Probably
Yeah.
his professional instinct is kicking in. He's possibly scoping out if there's any kind of security in place, what the capacity is there.
Yeah. So, do you want to make a wisdom check? So roll d20, rolling equal to or under. Well, not necessarily equal to or under wisdom. It depends by judge, but yeah.
What?
What'd you get?
1.
1. Well, that's a critical success if there were one. There's not such a thing as a critical success, but there are critical failures for Psionics proficiency checks, as Alex knows.
Yeah.
You're. I guess you look around. You quickly pick up what's going on here. There are security, and there are people who are plainly their job is to look out for stuff, but they look, inverted commas. Phsphl may not know what inverted commas are, but he gets the general idea. They look. They are playing dead. They are playing drunk. There are people paying much more attention than others. And there are probably, you see just in the main front living area or party area of the house where you're at now, and out in the garden behind you, you probably see at least a half dozen of these. They have swords, they seem very relaxed, but they are watching everything very carefully.
Are they acting? Are they blending in with the?
Yeah, they're playing dead.
Yeah.
Yes, they are playing dead, I think is how Phsphl would process it.
Okay.
They are like the gecko who leaves behind its tail or something. The tail is the prey. Like they're just slumped there, laughing. One of the ones who spot actually stands up and joins the slam poetry contest and just sounds incredibly drunk, and it doesn't know how to speak. He's kind of stammering, and then he's told to sit down, and then you see he sits down and his eyes flip around, very alert. So there are guards here.
Voluntarily joining the slam poetry, I immediately know something's up.
Very dedicated security professional.
Yeah. So Gil and the Major, you're over by the table as people are circulating around, coming over, picking up canapés. The Major is probably this is a pretty good buffet table. There are canapés, they're kind of really light things, but there are also there is a big bowl of some sort of black liquid in which you think really large oval slit eyes seem to be bobbing, as in just of a large eye-like thing with it's oval shaped with the pupil being a slit, seem to be bobbing in. There's
kind of salty.
Yeah. So probably what someone looks at the Major, kind of pick up a handful of these eyes, eat them, and looks at him with some degree of admiration and horror as he picks up some smoked salmon or something. There's salami and lots of other. There's fruit punch, which it's not so much spiked as mostly spiked. Do you know what I mean? You're there's fruit punch, and the smell half knocks Gil out as he goes to get a glass.
Way more punch than the fruit.
It's not punch. It's a whole left hook.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. The glass bowl in which it is, you can see the inside is really smooth, and it wasn't designed to be smooth. It slowly dissolved the glass.
Made from apples.
Yeah, indeed. Scumble.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, are the Major and Gil attempting to actually approach anyone, or are they just
maybe
staying inconspicuous?
Maybe small talk if people approach or something, but not drawing the conversation in any dangerous direction.
I am
Yes,
realizing you can just walk in here and get a free meal.
You don't say it like that, Major.
Great. I think probably people kind of assume that the major. I mean, you're a wizard. You've probably got wizardly marks on you. The major looks quite impressive. So probably one of them will probably say to the major, "It's like, where did Hastane pick you up? I mean, you're some kind of soldier, aren't you? Not an artist."
Oh, we go way back, dear boy, way back. With his father, actually, I knew better. Hastane the Elder, as it were. Yes, I could tell you some bally good stories about the times we shared together back on campaign.
So he looks. I'd say here's the thing. When you say Hastane the Elder, he looks a bit baffled. But then, as you say on campaign, it's like, do you know, I'd heard those rumors, and then kind of looks a bit guarded, and like just walks off quite hurriedly.
Major, what have you implied? What have you done,
Major? Idea.
Major, I think you've told that man you're a war criminal.
We should leave.
Let's just
Flynn.
meander.
I'll just finish off the ball of time.
Yeah. So the major says, "Oh yeah, we better go," and then turns around and keeps eating for at least several minutes.
Faust is also going to get any canapés that fall to the floor near the table.
Oh, we brought.
So Flynn, Flynn, who are you approaching? What was your plan? Remind us.
I've moved further and further away from the fiasco happening near the buffet to distance myself. And then, judging by the artwork we're seeing, I'm probably doing some sort of Charleston with various various ladies too. Yeah, and my plan is to just gossip with the guests of the party, and then try to gauge if anyone that I pass by has heard about the incident that happened the other night, and then if I can glean any further information from people. Maybe somebody actually was there, or in a manor house next door, or on the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, fair. I will roll that.
And I'm doing it very politely because I have etiquette as a proficiency.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you want to roll a proficiency test for me? You're currently running at a 8 or 6, depending on who you're speaking to. If it's someone who might be attracted to you or not. Well,
Should I? I mean, both are charisma. I also have fast talk, but they both would be based on charisma. So.
Oh no, I'm saying roll etiquette to see if I give you an extra bonus on the reaction check I've just made.
Yeah. Well, let's see here.
As you're trying to think, basically, you're like, how do I fit into this gang of degenerates?
Okay, I just got it. I have a 14 charisma.
Yeah. No, you know that this is this room. It's a wild crowd, and this room, the kind of dancing, chatting room, is the polite end of it. You know, you know that there are probably other things going on, but both the private and also the illegal elsewhere. You can pick up on artistic contests being created, challenges being offered. You do hear someone talking about the what they call the fall in art prices, but it's clear you pick up that they are not talking about fall in art prices. They're talking about also some sort of contest or gimmick. But yeah, you get pretty good reactions. You're the right kind of person to fit in here. You're a bit rakish. People are very welcoming. Probably two things. One, in terms of your reactions, did you hear about the crazy incident? People say, yes, I heard a groundsman. The nearest witness was a groundsman who saw them drop from up in a greenhouse and was the first to report it. I mean, did they say someone went missing? I couldn't really pick up. The magistrates were very silent when I asked.
Okay.
Says a a half elven male to you, and then he puts his hand to his nose, seems to sniff, and coughs, and then continues talking to you.
Just a quick bump. Yeah, I guess I'd say.
Yeah.
That's not Hastain's groundsman. That's that's old Lord so and so's groundsman on the street.
Yeah. He'll say no, not. He says, "Do you know? I think Hastain must have a groundsman. I don't know if I've ever seen them. It was at I think it was at House Eladan. House Eladan's groundsman."
What a strange occurrence, and for it to happen here in the noble quarter, just absolutely outrageous.
It says with a giggle. It says, "Well, I mean, if you can imagine if there was a take, it must have been political or maybe something, some sort of special order, and then kind of drops a whisper and says they do say the chain men take special orders."
Yes, they do say that. Things have been going downhill ever since this plague. It all must be connected. It's however, the Rock of Bral is getting more difficult all the time.
The half elf will say, I try not to mix with people who catch diseases. Showing a very basic idea of epidemiology, it seems, a very limited understanding.
Okay, well, let me write some stuff down.
Yeah.
Well.
Probably the other thing, I'll leave you to write that down and then I'll move to Stype. Probably Flynn, you'll also be told by a young human woman of a noble house, a young Miss Cartan, that you should come and meet. You should come and meet Hastain. She's not seen you at the parties before. Probably if you say you're the son of the unnamed man, you should recognise that. But she's not seen you here before. You must come and meet Hastain. Stype, you are mixing with the servants, aren't you?
Yep, that's the plan.
And what are you trying to pick up from them? What are you asking? What are you doing?
I think Stype is going to be reasonably direct about his purposes to the servants. Not necessarily, obviously I can't say anything about who this girl is or anything, but he is essentially going to say, oh, well, he'd heard that it had happened, he'd heard that these guards had been knocked out, and was just wondering if they or any of their friends knew anything about it.
Yeah. Just checking, do peasant priests get a bonus with peasants and stuff? Is that what their kit advantage is?
I think they
like they have some advantage.
They're granted hospitality, I believe, by commoners, but I don't know if they get like a just general reaction.
Oh, so yeah, you're probably well fed then.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
What the staff here say, the reaction is that they don't really know, and they're a bit. The one response you do get is someone's very guarded and doesn't really, and says like that there's been they've heard of, there's been a couple of disappearances. They heard actually like a beggar's boy went missing yesterday too. Not a beggar, sorry, like a stall owner, like a poor stall owner's boy went missing yesterday as well. He says, I think there's some, I think it's something very nasty, and just refuses to say anything more.
I'll ask where this boy went missing from.
From the lesser market, near where you live at the Red House.
Okay.
Says the grandfather's called Star, and his grandson, who's I think 17, it says got some sort of goes out and gets curios from somewhere to sell at his grandfather's stall. Don't know where he gets them from. But yeah, he went missing. It's I was told by my cousin. They're taking kids,
Interesting. And this person is not going to be drawn out at all on who they think it might be or why they might be doing it.
No. He'll probably say, you never know what are the guests here, what they could be. and then just we'll then say no more. We'll clam up completely.
Yeah. Well, Stype will nod sympathetically in the these nobles, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Stype will probably just head out with that information that a guy called Star's grandson.
What, to rendezvous with other people? Yeah. Phsphl, just before I return to Flynn, I was just going to say, was Phsphl doing anything else after having scoped out the defences? Are you muted? You are muted, Phsphl.
I'm sorry. I thought I might
Yes, Phsphl doing anything, having scoped out the... Yeah.
just approaching whoever is closest in the party and sort of hissing in an attempt at a whisper to say, I have noticed there are what's the word? I have noticed guards undercover.
It's probably Gil and the Major, because Gil and the Major were heading out, food in hand.
Oh goodness! Don't sneak off on me like that. Guards, wait.
It has like multiple like grocery bags.
Oh, I'm just gonna platter.
Just take the silver platter. Just walk off with it.
Yeah. I'm meant to be here.
Even at this kind of party, no one challenges the Major over the food he's taking. To be fair, one thing is, there's so much food, like no one cares, no one's paying any attention. There are people walking around with like decanters of 50-year-old Spiralian brandy, which Gil will recognise as like worth, he'll know people who've worked in the vineyards and distilleries on Spiral back in the day. And he'll be like, that is worth like more than a peasant's wages kind of thing. And they're just like walking around like pouring it on top of people's heads.
Those kind of parties.
Just kind of makes like a pained noise when he does that. But yeah.
Andrew, it's an Oxford formal.
No comment.
Yeah.
So Phsphl, I still can't say it. Phsphl. I suppose it makes sense if he guards. Are they what, hiding? Invisible?
It may simply be a precaution on the part of the host.
Well,
he did leave the doors open.
Yeah, but where are they?
I sort of indicate a couple of them and explain how to the telltale signs that I've noticed.
So it's...
Phsphl does sound like he knows what he's talking about.
The ones who are really bad at slam poetry, those are the guards.
Well, all of them.
Yeah.
So this chap over here.
So the guard, probably like at 15 feet distance, looks over at the Major who's really pointing and like looks curiously at like what's happening.
Don't worry, old chap. I've worked with security detail before.
His eyes will widen, and then you see, Phsphl, you will see his eyes do like a bit of a split second take, and then he collapses onto his knees, and his hand goes up to his mouth, and you don't quite see what happens, but he starts vomiting, and you smells like enormously like Phsphl does not buy this for a second, I think, but I'm not sure. Everyone else, I think the other people near you just look at the Major as if the Major too is completely off his face. You hear someone say, "Isn't that? I think it's the squid from the water planet, the giant eyes. I think they've got hallucinogenic in them. I think they make you see things."
This is going to be a fun evening.
If Stype is back and heard that from Phsphl,
yeah,
could Stype
yes,
suggest
I can be.
that Phsphl interrogate one of the guards, pretend he's like a surprise inspection, because there's been a security breach recently, and he wants to know what they're doing to prevent it happening again, and you know, see if they have any comments about what happened.
What do you think, Phsphl?
Yeah.
What's Phsphl's approach on this?
I'll the one who just made that particularly grand display, I'll approach him and say ha ha ha, such revelry, I would love to join you.
I just think this guy looks up and is like, there is like a crocodile dude asking to hang out with me after I've been made as a security officer. He'll say, the buffet table's over there, and point at the buffet table. And kind of look around, like looking very, very lonely all of a sudden.
How are we in the thick of the party?
Well, you're out. You've kind of come out on the lawn. And I guess he's staggered away from the slam poetry contest across the lawn, hasn't he? So you're. There's people around you, but probably no one right next to you. Probably the rest of the party is a few feet away. I guess Flynn may have joined you as well.
Okay, I guess I'll see if I can sort of lean in close enough to kind of quietly say to him, your ruse is wholly ineffective, and you still expect to be paid tonight?
Ooh, he'll kind of look up and he'll be like, "Who are you? I was doing fine. That they'd said that my slam poetry was avant-garde."
So Tom, just to check, we were going for a kind of unannounced inspection ploy, were we?
I think that was Stype's idea anyway. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just explicitly say a newborn hatchling would notice your poorly concealed weapons and so on.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you'll be able to point those out.
Basically, like I'm sort of chastising him and scolding him.
Yeah. Yeah. He'll be like, please, look, just don't tell, don't tell the Legion, and I'll do better, I promise.
I'll respond, you're aware I must report all infractions. Put the heat on him a little bit.
In a wheedling tone, he'll kind of say, I know, but I mean, is there anything I could do to show that I'm, that I'm doing a good job? Is anything I could do something that could, what can I do that you give me a good report? Come on, just help me out here, man. I mean, it's a wage.
I'll pause for longer than is comfortable, staring at him with my expressionless.
I assume this is like a 15-second pause of like a reptile staring at him.
You know how still lizards can be sometimes.
Look at the eyeball halfway through.
Yeah.
And then say, there is perhaps a favour I would ask.
By the way, this is the moment to say that Andrew is actually an expert on lizards and amphibians, so we can
Wouldn't go that far.
tap his,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're literally a
He's met
professional
lizards now.
lizard man.
I'm a professional hobbyist.
Yeah.
Is lizards not what you do for a living?
Mostly amphibians, but lizards are just a hobby.
Oh, okay.
In what capacity are they your living? I mean,
I sort of breeding cell amphibians, sort of aquarium supplements, that kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
You know when you hear about like building development gets delayed because of newts.
That's me.
That's Andrew.
Oh, lol.
I
Yep.
put them there.
Oh, you put them there. That's funny. My wife's job is to find them.
Yeah. Basically, this D&D group is like an eco-terror group in disguise. Everyone has a job. Phsphl, he responds and says, "What's the favour, man?"
Favor of knowledge.
I kind of look curious at you, but I think he's jangled enough that he's just listening to you. So he's like, "What is it? What do you need to know?"
And I'll ask him for what he knows about the recent happenings.
Yeah, he'll say that he, what he'd heard on the grapevine was there had been some kidnappings of a few people, but particularly younglings of different ancestries, not just human, and then he'll kind of mutter with some disgust, but like probably a special order from the Chainmen.
Does that mean anything to us?
It might do. The those of you who are more underworldy, so I guess Phsphl and probably Phsphl, because I don't think the other two. Phsphl might make an int check. I know your int is like not very good, but like make an int check.
Ouch.
No, yeah, you're like the chain men. Are they the band who's playing here? I don't think you literally just like, I have no idea. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm definitely going to
Flynn. What are you saying? First of all, go for it.
Well, I'm just definitely going to bluff there and say, of course, or something.
Yeah, like looking completely unconvincing. But then you're a lizard, so he's probably just like, maybe they always look like that. But yeah, so great. Yeah, Flynn, you're taking the invitation to Hastane, are you?
Yeah, I'm basically going to ask him similar. I'm going to ask him about the Chainmen, for instance. I got the same sort of musing from the people I talked to, and I'm sure I'm not connected in that way to know anything about them firsthand, but maybe somebody more connected would, and it might be dangerous because who knows? Maybe Hastane, maybe Hastane is connected, but I guess I'll take that risk.
Yeah. It's just got a picture of Hastane. He doesn't have pointy ears, but he kind of has strawberry blonde hair, very fine waistcoat and long gloves, silk shirt, long hair, very fine cheekbones, very beautiful man.
Could you show that
you're
to us on
taken into-
Roll20 again, Owen? Sorry, just because I accidentally clicked off it, and so it won't be showing on the.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I'll do that again. I've clicked off and I'll click on. That's fine. Give me a minute.
Oh, so he's a younger guy. He's not like an older nobleman.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look very old.
Unless he said he wasn't necessarily human, so maybe he just doesn't age in
No,
the same way.
he's a Rygar. He's a Rygar.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you do see as you. Sorry, it is obviously not.
There you go.
Let's try that. There we go. So he is sitting in an inner like a sitting room. It's slightly darker. There are all sorts of odors and aromas. Very pleasant, but very, very heady in here. There are people lounging on sofas. This is where this is just a room away from where the loud band is, which is just behind that. So it's a bit muted, but you can still hear the jazz coming through. He has the weirdest thing actually as you come in. You're taken towards him by this young lady Cartan. Is that there's like, you think there's glitter on his head, but as you look, you realise it's actually floating around his head. There is like a cloud of twinkling and glittering motes, which are changing colour in some sort of pattern, but you can't spot the pattern. You do realise you find it hard to focus on him. You are able to see him and look at him, but you'll find it hard to kind of really focus on him as you see these motes glittering around his head. He's wearing that, and he has at his belt he actually has a figurine hanging from his belt, which is a figurine of some sort of amphibian, a newt-like amphibian, in fact, ironically.
We're talking crested.
And Lady Cartan will say, Lady Cartan will say, "Oh, Hastain, darling," and Hastain will look up. And Flynn, I think I'm not even going to make you test. I think you know situations enough. He looks up with practiced courtesy and politeness and says, "Oh, hello, darling. How are you? I haven't seen you tonight." She'll say, "Oh no, I only arrived half an hour ago, and you know what the boys outside are like." And he chuckles, and again in a very practiced manner, and says, "Yes, indeed." And then kind of look at Flynn and say, "There's a certain resemblance you have, boy."
Yes, my name is Flynn Manley. I've
I'm
heard
not
plenty about you
surprised.
about reputation. I believe we were both at
He says, "You can never believe what you hear,"
well,
and kind of laugh pleasantly.
yes, I believe we were both at an artist's benefit at the Citadel a couple years ago. I don't think we ever crossed paths, though.
He says, "Very likely. I do like to donate to Prince Andrew's various artistic causes. I mean, in a way, he really leans on me as an artistic advisor, very wisely." And Lady Cartan will chuckle and say, my father says that Prince Andrew doesn't have an aesthetic bone in his body." And the Rygar will just smile in a very kind of, again, very practiced. It's funny, it doesn't come across as fake. It just comes across as if he's very used to just being pleasant and talking to people at parties.
Yes, well, I mean, he would be wise to take your advice, judging by this party. It's a lovely evening you've put together.
So, yeah.
Well, you know,
He says, "Well, one of hundreds," and then he'll kind of, probably just listen to you again.
yeah, I'll say that I'm sort of my father's asked that I do something to give back to the city, so I've taken to trying to right some various wrongs about the Rock in a very direct way. It's a new thing. I'm looking into a matter
It's
recently about
violence as performance art. I could see something here, you know.
one could say that the art of the blade is a performance on its own.
He'll cock his head and say, "Oh, you're a swordsman."
Well, I try to be.
He'll say, "Oh, well, you'll have to some other evening. You have to show me your skills." I enjoy a dabble myself.
Oh, certainly, that'd be very enjoyable. I was wondering, what I'm trying to do is that there were some disappearances recently, and we're trying to solve a case, if you will, a bit of detective work.
He'll kind of look and say, and what are you investigating, boy? Lady Cartan will actually look at this as if she's like, "Well, that's a bit gross, you know, investigating things, solving things," and she'll drift off.
Yeah, I was just about to say I was looking at her like trying to will her to walk away. But yeah, I guess I'll just drop it and see if I can judge his reaction and get some information. I'll just say like, what do you know about the Chainmen?
Do you want to make a whiz check? I guess I'll just get.
Sure.
Oh no, make an etiquette check. Make an etiquette check. Etiquette check.
That's back to charisma then.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's something you like.
nope, that's a no. Perhaps
Yeah,
it's too
you're unable to read this guy. You look and you're like,
I wasn't surreptitious enough.
yeah. No, this isn't a test as to how effective you are. This is just, do you pick up on any weird social cues that he starts giving? This is your perfect environment for etiquette, so it feels fair to give you a chance to kind of get extra insight. But he doesn't give anything extra away. What he says is, Chainmen, they say that's it's illegal, of course, but it's a slavers' organisation, isn't it? Operate across the spheres.
Yes, they wouldn't happen to operate here on the rock, would they?
He'll chuckle. There is a certain, this is not a polite chuckle. There's a certain kind of dry irony. He'll say, "I'm quite certain they do. I mean, where does not cancer grow? Where is not corruption found?" He'll say, "I'm sure if you were to look hard enough, you'll look at the glittering images around you and the sculptures." He'll say, "Each of these is a facade, and so is the Rock of Bral." Prince Andrew may say that the bad old days are going away, but they never will.
I just was thinking that there are a few people in this city that I've heard are better connected than you. I'm just wondering if we were to start scratching at that surface, what do you think we'd find?
He'd say, "I think you'd find people who would want to kill you, boy, if I might put it bluntly." But he shrugs and says, "But good luck to you. Or I'm always willing to see someone else do something theatric in public. You never know how entertaining it will be."
All right. I was hoping to finagle a name out of him or a location, but I doubt either he doesn't know or he'll just dance around and not say anything. Well, we do have the Chainman as a
you can
name
say, you can
to look
ask.
into. I can. It just feels. It just.
You can ask
right.
if you want.
It doesn't feel right to be so forward with him. Be like, "Give me a name." Take out my sword. "Give me a name, damn it."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll play off of when he's like, someone might want to kill you. I'll be like, if someone wanted to kill me, who do you think would be unhappy if I were to dig into this Chainmen thing?
He'll steeple his hands together and then look into the middle distance as if wondering. And you see, there is the weirdest thing where you suddenly think, this, you just get the sense that he's suddenly interested for the first time in the conversation. There's something in some way he's interested or engaged. And he's like, I imagine so. Some of the merchant interests, someone has to ship these slaves, right? Someone has to be the people involved in shipping them. And that means they're not shipping whatever they say they're shipping.
Very true.
So he says, I genuinely do not know where you should start, but if I were simply using my little grey cells, as the detectives call them, that's where I'd start.
All right.
He will he'll actually then look over to someone else hovering nearby, looking for his attention. A young man, he says, he'll say, There's a lizardman dragging people off and having strange conversations with them outside. I mean, should we do something about it? And Hastane will look up and be like, "That sounds delightful. No, let it happen."
I'll sort of politely dismiss myself, tell him have a lovely evening.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll spar in the future for a nice evening.
He'll say, "I hope to hear more of you before long."
Yeah.
And wave you off. I guess you go with the rest of them.
He'll sort of forget me the instant I leave.
Yeah, he'll forget you. But yeah, I guess you'll unite with the rest of the party.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a debrief before we finish for tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think we found out some good information.
Yeah,
the thing I'll say, besides the speculative stuff that people have said about these chainmen, which would seem to fit, would only be that someone did also hear that there was an actual witness that we should probably go talk to.
Yeah, we should talk to the gardener, and we should also try and find this guy Star, whose grandson and apprentice
Yes.
went missing in the merchant district. I think both of those are reasonable, and as you got from Hustain, we could start looking into shipping interests, see if we can maybe bribe a warehouse guard or somewhere like that or somebody who deals with the manifests, somebody whose goods haven't turned up or something.
Yeah, somebody's probably being very meticulous with records, making sure that everything looks correct, but under the surface it's not correct. So there's got to be some sort of something's wrong somewhere in the paper trail.
Yeah, there's got to be a bar where shipping accountants hang out that we can buy somebody a drink and get them talking about
the
that.
manifests and customs declarations will be at the bureaucracy. The master of the docks will hold the shipping manifests.
Actually,
you can make a note of that, but the master of the docks.
Now that I think about it,
shipping
next session, Owen and I can just do financial accounting for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We'll just...
Yeah. A real life game of audits and accountants.
8,000 tons of grain.
Can you do a decent free on Roll20? Oh, you can.
On Roll20, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Can you? Can you manually set it? Great. We'll start using the famous D23 of the game audits and accountants. Played across the spheres.
Come on.
Yeah. Great. You got a 9.
I just want to see if it actually rolls above a 20.
It'll do any size.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Great. Okay then. Well, we Any other thoughts about anything else you want to follow up next time?
I mean, now that we know there's multiple children who've gone missing, it's not just this one girl. It might actually be worth going back to that warehouse where the kid was spotted hanging around. Just in case that there is a connection there. They'll have been whichever group is acting as a front for these slavers, they've got to be taking them past the docks somewhere, and
yeah.
The other thing would be why these kids? Because it's not that they're just taking someone. They're targeting people, right? It's someone is paying them to disappear specific people, maybe as a punishment or a retaliation, something like that. So
Maybe
I wonder if they're
the person
connected.
whose ward it is has been active against the chainmen, for example.
Right. Or the chainmen are not, or they're being paid by a third party to.
Yeah.
All of the kids are somehow their parents or something is connected to someone else in the rock, who are using the chainmen to punish them, something like that.
Yeah.
or they're just selling them into slavery because bad guys do that.
No, it's possible. I think that's likely that they're being targeted for a reason, not just.
Yeah, swiping
to be
kids from the
grabbed.
gutter is easy. Swiping a noble is difficult.
Yeah, that could definitely be retaliatory or something, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if they would necessarily be targeting the poorer ones deliberately, but I can see your point there at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So look into the previous missing kid, talk to the groundskeeper, maybe actually do a real stakeout of the warehouse instead of just trying to walk up to it and getting caught. And then what was the last thing? Look into shipping issues like mismatches.
Cool.
Is it worth us actually visiting the crime scene?
Well, I
it
think
says,
that's where we'd speak to the gardener, right? I think we'd likely find him there, so we can do both.
If there's
presumably this House Eladon where he works is probably there on that street.
Yeah. Great. Okay, then, well, if someone, I guess the major would make notes, but if someone makes a note of your lead, then we can pick that up next time as we head towards what's increasingly like a noir, which is presumably going to end up with disastrous consequences for the private dicks.
Amazing.
Because that's what happens in noirs. But yeah, If someone takes notes of that, then we will pick that up next time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Drop your favourite moments in the comments, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Tom, do you want to cut the stream?
Yep. Bye.